Ciao a tutti, hello everybody. So I'm very excited to be here. It's not the first time I moderate a few of them, so it's a pleasure to see friendly face. So I would like to ask you to briefly introduce yourself so people can understand your role and what's your job in the Web3.
Okay, great. So I'm Morteza. Nice to meet you all, and welcome back to ETHMilan, I think the biggest Web3 conference. So I'm CEO and co-founder of Intraverse. I started my journey in crypto around 2016, and 2017 mainly with the craze of ICO. So, I started, I think that, ICO will make me rich, and I didn't even start with Bitcoin, to be honest. And I was buying Ethereum and, putting on different, crypto. And then what happened, the market crashed, and I tried to study what is Web3, what is blockchain, and I understood the value about the Bitcoin, Ethereum, what is behind, so I started to buy Bitcoin. And meanwhile, I was working in the consulting company Accenture as in an innovation center, working with a lot of fashion and luxury. Always passionate about the crypto. I even converted one of my boss, which is also investor in Intraverse, to buy crypto. And as he has a bag full of money, he put immediately 50K on Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin goes down, and his children was making fun of him and me. And but then of course Bitcoin is back. But
Did
then
you get to be promoted because of that suggestion?
I mean, he invested, to be honest. So he was, believing in me, vision, and also he was studying. So then I left the company. I started Intraverse somehow 2 years ago, and I can explain better about Intraverse. I leave it to PG.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, Marty. Hi, everyone. My name is Piergiacomo. I go by PG. I'm head of gaming at Taiko. Taiko is a Type 1 ZK EVM. Not only fully EVM equivalent, but we're fully Ethereum equivalent, meaning like we inherit all the good properties of Ethereum while scaling it. We're also the first based rollup that is live on mainnet. What that means pretty much is that we do not rely on a single centralized sequencer like pretty much all the L2s out there, but our blocks get validated directly by Ethereum L1 validators. About me, I've been kind of like share a similar story with Morty. Been in the industry for quite some time, since 2017. Was previously at Algorand, so outside of the EVM world, I guess. Before that, I started a non-profit that does a lot of like education and research in blockchain, but that was in the US. Actually, I'm from Milan. I've been back for about a year. I think it's amazing to see such a community. And honestly, if I gotta be a little bit spicy, is like this city heavily relies on consulting. So seeing like people like Morty that like lives the kind of like Milanese consulting world to jump into crypto, I think it's amazing. So I'd love to see like, double the people next year. But yeah, it's a great turnout. So thanks for being here.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Ruben. I'm co-founder and CEO of eStorm. eStorm is a gaming platform for competitive gamers. It's a desktop app on a launcher called Overwolf. And we give gamers challenges on the most famous esport games like League of Legends, Fortnite, Dota 2. And we're rewarding them for their performance, basically. About my background, I've been into crypto since 2019, when one of my professors introduced me to blockchain technology. I was mesmerized by it, so I decided to build something on it. The other co-founder was a pro player of Overwatch when Overwatch was a thing years ago, and he was very into esports. Myself, I tried to become a competitive player of Magic the Gathering, but I wasn't that successful. So yeah, we decided to build a place, an application where skilled gamers could earn a living from their skills, bringing liquidity from the Web3 space and allow them to monetize their skills.
Thank you. So the first question is more about the scenario, and it will be for the three of you. So how do you see Web3 gaming evolving in the next 5 to 10 years?
So I will start. So, first of all, if I give opinion about this is also my opinion, based on the 2 years experience in the Web3, maybe you don't agree. So I believe Web3 gaming will be going huge, but there are some elements that we need to respect about Web3 gaming, because when we bring Web3 to the gaming industry, so as it is all about crypto is about economy. I mean, you are bringing an economy, an open economy, to a gaming system. So it's not, for me, it's not only about bringing a technology that, of course, ownership, but it's bringing, new aspect to the game, like it is economy, open economy, so people are playing, they can earn, and there are also people that they don't play, and they want to, maybe take advantage of this economy and this game. So I believe that this is, my what I see inside the market. I know that there are lots of, great Web3 games, which is, I mean, really with a high quality. We call them AAA game, coming to the Web3. They are building on Web3, like Godzilla, Parallel, all of these, FPS, first-person shooter. They are coming, and others like Big Time. They have introduced, new great gameplay to this. But some of them probably won't be successful in the, I think, next 2 years, because probably they need to make a balance between gameplay and economy, because it's not about the gameplay. Because if a person wants to right now, just for entertainment, play a game, probably goes to the normal gaming, no? And if they come to the Web3 gaming, probably is because they, they are seeking also another things, ownership, economy, and other things. So what I foresee is that probably in the next 2 years, still Web3 gaming is about economy and more speculation. This is I believe that the next Web3 game, big Web3 game, is not completely coming from AAA game studio that spend, tens, 20 or 30 millions on a game. It can be from indie studio, but with a good economy that attracts, the digital part still. But maybe in the 5 or 10 years, as the Web3 become more a technology, we will have the games that the baseline technology is Web3. Like now, PlayStation is creating, Sonium is an EVM compatible chain for the gaming. Others, Epic Games is, also allowing people, Web3 games, crypto games, to be listed on the Epic Store. But I think in the next 2 years, I believe still it will be like this, but the economy will be more attractive than the gameplay, that has a fun. But probably from 5 to 10 years, I believe that the technologies will be also important. So maybe all the underlying assets that we have in the, in the game, which is maybe virtual assets, it will be probably on chain. It will be, NFTs, crypto, and all about this.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think like when it comes to gaming, it's an industry that moves at a different speed than our industry. We're very used to like see projects being shipped at like light speed in this industry, like 3 months you're out. Games take years. So the first wave of like Web3 games that we've seen are kind of like, mixed between Poncenomics and like a bad idea, I guess. So it's a matter of like growing the user base, put out like good products that people want to use. Of course, like distribution is key, but like we're seeing like a lot of games coming like to Epic Store, to Steam. I think another key factor is the like mingling with the traditional like gaming industry. Like with Taiko, for example, like we're evaluating an investment and a partnership with a game whose founder is very close to the city of Wukong, right? So like, and they're interested, they're invested. So traditional games and traditional gaming founders that have success are also looking at like Web3 games to get involved on the side, right? So ultimately, it's up to us as an industry to like live up to the expectations and actually deliver like good experiences when people can have fun. Have exposure to like the benefits of like what this technology brings to the table, micropayments, direct rewards, of course like ownership of assets, but in in a good way, right? So at the end of the day, it's also like what people do and like how they design products. So if you're, designing something that is clearly like scammy and not gonna work, then it's not because like blockchain is evil and this, crypto is evil. It's probably because like that's the type of behavior you have, right? So it's just a matter of like empowering the right people with as an industry, make sure they, they can build good products. I think again, like we're already like a different stage than what we were 2 years ago. Like where you would go to like big gaming conference and say like you work in crypto and people would probably like spit in your face. And now like more and more people are like actually like realizing and like even like the traditional gaming conferences, they welcome like more Web3 projects and such. So yeah, I think 5, especially 10 years, we're gonna be I think golden. The big question mark, jumping off what Marty was saying, is like whether AAA games are gonna be a thing in crypto. There are some good projects being built. It takes a lot of money. The question is whether like once the big studios realize that like the indie games are actually successful in Web3 and there's actually product market fit, they will jump in, therefore like wiping out all the current like Web3 gaming, because like if you're a big saga with an already huge audience, it's hard to be replaced. Or some AAA like Web3 games will emerge and potentially overcome the legacy one. Very hard in my opinion, but you never know. I think in the short, medium term, what's really gonna stick is like more on the indie games with like good incentives, fun product, cool community that anybody can get involved.
So I think that we can see the future of Web3 gaming or different points of view. We have the gameplay point of view and the technology point of view. Starting from the first one and basing my answer to what's been already said, I think that we're going to see Web3 pure video games and Web2 games with Web3 option, which might be more suitable for AAA games, for example, to attract the mainstream users of the gaming industry, which were many users, talking about hundreds of millions of users worldwide. So the first option would mainly focus on probably speculation. I mean, Father Time proved that since X Infinity to the tap games, the main focus for the audience was making gains out of the game, which is not very attractive for traditional gamers. So on the other side, prefer an enjoyable gameplay. They want to have fun rather than make money on the video games themselves. So they don't want the video game to be a mean to make money. So talking about Web2 traditional games with Web3 options, I guess that's going to be the biggest thing during the next years. I'm thinking about gameplay styles that could go together with Web3 features, especially MMORPGs or card games. Like one of my favorite Web3 games, which is like a Web2 traditional game with Web3 options, is like Raven Quest. Like Raven Quest is amazing. It's an amazing MMO. We also have great card games like the Other Games one. And Web3 features their work. Like in-game economy, in-game trading with the cards, it's great in my opinion. But while there are other gameplay styles that do not fit with the Web3 technology, like, I don't know, FPS, yes, it might be cool to have an NFT of the weapon, but I could still do the same on Counter-Strike or MOBAs. Like, there's not much in-game economy in MOBAs. So I believe that we're going to see very good AAA games and MMOs and trading card games in the near future. Under the technological perspective, the most important solutions to me that I would like to see during the next years are blockchain-based engines, game engines, and anti-cheat engines that are based on blockchain. Like a zero-knowledge proof anti-cheating system, that would be great for FPS games, I guess, because it would prove that nobody in the lobby uses cheats. And it would be proved by everybody. So yeah, and of course, in-game economy. So yeah, hopefully we're going to see these solutions, and hopefully someone here is building that, and that would be amazing. That would be amazing.
Yeah, one quick thing. I think also like you nailed it. I think also like on-chain randomness is like a great like use case, proving like that a game yeah, exactly, is actually fair. But it is again, it's so niche that like we as an industry need to like make it happen, because and make like the tradition with like gaming industry understand that this matters, in my opinion. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, no
Yeah,
problem.
I wanted to add also this, Ruben was saying, FPS game probably is not suitable, but if you look at the investors, where they're investing their money, also big game studios in the Web3, the biggest investment has been made in the FPS game, Web3 games. I can make, there are, 5 or 6 titles. Parallel, there was a TCG game, trading card game, but right now they announced that they will do the, shooter game. There is Godzilla. Yeah, they're making FPS game. There is another game, I don't remember the name, which is in the board. There is the ex CEO of the Activision Blizzard. They are making the FPS game. I have also this question. I don't know why they are investing so much, or FPS is so attractive for the Web3 games. I mean, because I believe that the most important thing for them is creating the IP. Because also Web3 is about the IP with the NFTs. You see that in Bored Ape, Doodles, or this create the IPs. But this is also my question: why FPS is so attractive? They put millions, 20, 30, even 50 millions to make this kind of FPS game. I think among them also there will be a big competition, no? Who will win?
And also not be
yeah.
Like Activision has like for them
Exactly.
like 2 months budget, right?
Exactly.
So, like,
Yeah. Also, in studio, lots of FPS game, big games, and I don't know. This is my question.
Yeah, just quick reply. I think because it's the easiest game to onboard users on. Like FPS is very simple in its mechanics. It's not like an MMO or a 4X where you have, or a grand strategy game where you have complex mechanics. It's pretty straightforward. So that's the easiest way to enter into the market. But in my opinion, beside having NFTs as weapons or skins, unless you have a very strong IP behind the project, I don't know where the Web3 utility could actually help. We should find new gameplays where we could leverage Web3 more, I guess.
I saw the model. I like it. It was shoot to earn. So you get inside the lobby, and everyone pay some incentives to get there. It's a competition, no? It's a tournament, and then based on who survive, and based on how many you shoot, you earn, and then you go out. Of course, it won't go mainstream because people will lose money, but it's more on the prediction, which is more aligned with the Web3. You can earn, or you risk, because in the Web3, I think all people are, we are really keen to risking, no? Because when we buy any crypto, it's a risk, whichever crypto.
I love this panel. I don't have to do anything. Just me here, I'm listening as you, and it's fine. So I have a question for you about Intraverse, which is creating a gaming engagement layer. In your opinion, how does blockchain enhance the gaming experience compared to traditional platforms, and what are the challenges you are faced?
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't give the introduction about Intraverse. So as an Intraverse, we are building let's say, engagement mid layer, enable IPs, NFT project to launch their own games in a fast and quick way. We are not claiming that we are doing a AAA games. We are approaching a gaming more as an engagement. Because if you look at the market right now, many companies are going to the Roblox, but because they don't want, of course, to become a gaming company, but they see the gaming as a new media. Like some years ago, they were looking at the socials, like Meta, Facebook, TikTok. But right now, they are looking into the gaming. They want to be inside the game because the audience is there. So what we are doing as Intraverse is enable to the small creator, big creator, launching their gaming activation, having the game for entertaining, for engaging, for user acquisition of their community. This is what we are building. And we see that it can work really well with the NFT projects, because NFT projects, they are IPs, no? When we talk about IPs, NFT collections, they are assets. You have the asset. And most of the time, where you can use the virtual asset, you use it inside the virtual world. And where is this virtual world right now? they are inside the gaming. So with these things, we think that right now we are really focused on the Web3. We are helping lots of protocols and also IPs. I can say some names like Youth, A Kid Called Beast, and even Cool Cats to having their gaming activation rather than build a game, for example, for a couple of hundreds of thousands of dollars. They can have leverage our gaming templates that coming from different gaming studios and also working with protocols. And because of this, I think Web3 is really enabling us. And regarding a challenge, I think our challenge, of course, as we are focusing on the Web3, one of the challenges is that Web3 is a small market still. We are not talking about lots of IPs over there. We are working a lot with the NFT projects, but NFT projects, for now, they don't have so much money. They had money 2 years ago, 3 years ago, while they were launching, like, Bored Ape, I know some community members here, they raised, as a seed round, $450 million. I think it was one of the biggest seed round because they make ape, they create a community, they have 1 million Ethereum as a secondary volume, and they were making IP, they were making other side, a Web3 metaverse, that, metaverse was a craze on that. And right now, even the big projects, even, I can say, Yoga Lab, Bored Ape, they don't have so much money. And the new incentive is that they are trying to make a new chain. I don't know, it's good or bad, I don't know, but it's, maybe for liquidity, maybe for, expanding, for solving some problem, I don't know. Even Pudgy, is making a new chain called Abstract. And, but with a different approach than the ape chain. So I think one of the main challenge for us is that trying to, of course, to see that how the Web3 market is evolving inside the NFTs. So we are approaching, to be honest, also Web2 projects, communities, especially brands, and onboarding them to the Web3. And also on the other side, we are working also with protocols. So, as a protocol, we bring different NFT communities on top of this protocol. They leverage their technology. Like Taiko is one of them. And also Vitalik say that you're the only ZK that doing you're specific, yeah. And we are working right now. This is what our challenge is like this. Yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about Taiko. I'm curious what Vitalik said.
We're EVM purists, and literally on a slide, and also like base rollups are kind of like an emerging. It's bad to say narrative, I guess. It's a technological advancement. It's something that is very much so on the Ethereum roadmap. For scaling, we work very closely with the Ethereum Foundation. Again, as I said at the beginning, like the core differentiation here is that the way we scale Ethereum is without a single point of failure, which is pretty much the case with like all the L2s out there right now. And of course, that's it's okay in the short term, like it makes the UX way better, but it's again like misses the point of like why we're doing blockchains, right? Because if you have to rely on like a few people or even like a single party, then like you're not gonna, it's even like as a builder, right? Like if you're building something on a protocol that like might or might not exist or might be live or for a while and then go offline for some time, then I think there's big risk there, of course. So yeah, that's kind of like why the based approach makes sense. We're again an extension of Ethereum. So yeah, that's kind of like the approach we're taking.
Yeah, what kind of innovation are you seeing in the space that we push Web3 gaming forward?
I think that's it's an interesting question. I think from like the pure app perspective, I think there's a lot of like cool, I guess, tries. There's like we're still experimenting on some side, but also there are some cool projects. What we're saying before, like even like fully on-chain games, it might or might not make sense, but I think it's okay and cool to experiment. I think like overall bringing the benefits of like this technology to the table is worthwhile. So yeah, that's kind of like what we're seeing on the protocol level side. There's a lot of like infrastructure and like new layer 2s being launched, even new L1s, where you just like change the value proposition and you go raise a bunch of money. I think it's okay if you are actually bringing something innovative to the table from a technological standpoint. I think a few of the big projects right now are also being like, their core value prop is kind of bringing something new on the community side, which may or may not be kind of like a decisive factor, because people are volatile in this industry. So if you're not actually innovating at the end of the day, then you're gonna be short-lived. So again, like what we're bringing to the table is kind of like a new approach to the Ethereum scalability roadmap. Of course, at the second layer, you know, embracing the fact that Ethereum can scale at the first layer, hopefully sooner than rather than later. But yeah, and our ethos is also like, we believe that like based rollups are actually like a great way of scaling Ethereum. We embrace the, like our, you know, perfect word is like that every rollup out there is based. It doesn't have to be Taiko, the one that succeeds eventually, but you know, we're so aligned with Ethereum ethos that like that's kind of like how we see it. And we're actually working on another piece of technology called Gwenif, which is pretty much, we call it base booster rollups. It's pretty much a way to like spin up a base rollup out of the box, and if you're ready to roll up, kind of like become based right out of the box. It's pretty far down the line on our technical roadmap, but probably within a year time there should be some good stuff. Still research phase, but it's a very hard, complicated technical issue that we're working with.
Well, good luck. And about eStorm, so it's a gaming platform, of course, that rewards esport gamers. And how do you approach the unique needs of esport players and the in the Web3, of course?
Yep. So we started from a double problem. So we have traditional gamers, traditional esport gamers. They generally do not care about Web3. They're scared about Web3. But unless you're really top level in esport, you wouldn't be able to earn a living from that. Like, you really have to be among those who've been scouted by the best esport team, and especially in Europe, we do not have many chances to get scouted because the most important part of the market is currently based in Southeast Asia. So, and they have a completely different industry there. Like, it's very big. So, very talented gamers, skilled gamers do not usually have the chance to get at that level or earn a living from their skills. Well, on the other side, we have Web3 users, and they would be ready to, they're risk takers. They would be ready to speculate on anything, right? And they have a lot of liquidity. So what could be missing there is, I mean, they are different communities. They have different interests. They talk a different language, okay? But an interesting touch point that we're trying to reach is, okay, we have great Web2 gamers, traditional gamers that could be sponsored by the liquidity of the Web3 users willing to invest in esports to bring liquidity in the market that's needing that kind of liquidity. Also, talking about pure Web3 esports, I'm afraid that nowadays it's very hard to talk about any Web3 esport at all. It's very hard to do that. Like, we see tournaments, there are tournaments, many of them are based on traditional esport video games, and they bring some different pools, but what's missing there is the infrastructure in terms of community, not the technical infrastructure, but, you know, traditional esports arenas do not generally host Web3 games at all. They host traditional games, and Web3 esport competitions are rarely held in arenas because living in a decentralized ecosystem, it's hard to have centralized players willing to take the responsibility to create, to organize an event, a tournament, call Twitchers, influencers to sponsor the events. So we think that on one hand we have a very mature ecosystem, the traditional esport, that could benefit from the Web3. So that's the touch point, in my opinion. I don't know if we'll ever see pure Web3 esports. I don't know. Maybe some Web3 features will come up, Web3 gameplays that allow this kind of competition, because that's the most important thing, not earning from the game itself. Okay, we had guilds, right? But guilds were focused on yields. Like, the more money you could make out of games, it didn't matter whether you're good or not at the video game. Well, on the competitive side, we care a lot about skills, like reflexes. And so, yeah, that's my opinion about the Web3 ecosystem. I mean, we already have an infrastructure. It's in Web 2. Let's bring Web 3 to Web 2 rather than the opposite.
So next question is, how do you envision solving the challenges of interoperability between different games, and what are the technical and business issues to overcome?
I can start. Yeah, I mean, interoperability between games, I think it's a end game of this overlap. I think if, like, you know, in a perfect world, like if we eventually can have like assets moved around like across different games, I think that would be amazing as a gamer, honestly. I think overall it's I don't want to say it's utopia, but eventually, like, we need to get the big boys on board for this. So that's like a separate, like, that's on a whole other level of complexity, especially with like the traditional big IPs. Even on the hardware side, licenses, things like that, it's a mess. So probably 10 years if we're good at what we're doing. Eventually, we can achieve it amongst Web3 games, maybe sooner. We're already having this industry a problem of interoperability even between like networks. So that's still to be solved. There are some solutions out there. Some are trade-offs and shortcuts that I'm not a big fan of, because that's what puts, you know, money at risk. The reputation of this industry is something that just we don't want to happen anymore. But, you know, actually eventually I think we're gonna solve kind of like this fragmentation issue, and enable users to don't have to like suffer the awful UX that they have to do to kind of like take today. Again, amongst games, I think like we have to showcase the use case as an industry with what we're doing with the current, like, the pure like Web3 games. Once that's validated, once we onboard enough users to make it relevant, hopefully again, like, the big guys are gonna acknowledge it and do it. I want to say one thing about what you're saying about esports. I was like a couple of years ago talking with the Riot team, because they were like looking at like entering crypto and whatnot. And funny enough, their angle was more on fans rather than like, oh, let's tokenize assets within our IPs, right? It's like, how do we reward our fan base? How do we make our like experience around our IPs more engaging? Which I think is a great use case. The right rewards, again, just connecting more people in a better way. I think, and it's also easier than like, oh, let's take a big risk and put some NFTs on a title that it's literally printing billions of dollars for us. So like, well, why would they do that, right? So yeah, little by little, but I see the esport angle a lot. I think that's a great use case, a great angle if taken properly. Again.
Do you want to add something?
And the part of the interoperability, yeah?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So in the part of interoperability, I believe, you know, as PG was saying, there are two angles. One in technological, I mean, and like in chain angles. So from one chain to another chain. I think that is not so much, I think, difficult, because right now we have a restaking platform, so you're bridging funds, no? Of course, they are not secure, but you're bridging funds from one chain to another chain. So I think also you can bridge the asset as a not a visual asset. You can, you know, as in a smart contract, you can bridge them. So this is the angle I think it can be solved. So right now, if you have, because as it is, you know, we're talking about open economy. For example, if you have an asset in the sandbox, and you go to the central land, if you connect the same wallet, also the central land can understand that you have an asset sandbox, asset, a smart contract. But the problem, I think the main problem is the visual one, no? How we make this, you know, happen. I think that is the, I think next, I don't know, billion-dollar company. I know that, for example, A16Z, they are investing a lot. For example, you know, Ready Player Me, that they are interoperable avatar, their avatar system. You can create your own avatar. So they give you API or SDK, you bring this avatar inside your game. So this is interoperability, you know. I make in one place one avatar, one assets, so I can use it in different environments. So it is interoperability. And I think they invested in the 2022 55 million in the Ready Player Me because they were integrating with more than 3,000 experience or games or whatever we can say. And I think that is, you know, the visual part, I think the most important part, that we can solve it. I don't know, AI can solve some issues for this, you know, making assets, you know, compatible with different environments. I know that, for example, NFT collections, they are making their assets, they're giving you APIs. We are working with some of our partners that they are an avatar layer, and then they give you SDK or API. So as a game, we have a fighting game, we have a card game, we can call the APIs and bring this, you know, like Bored Ape, Youths, A Kid Called Beast, Cool Cat inside, and people can use that as a one-of-one NFT of themselves. But it needs also from our side that to be compatible, because they give us 3 different standards: WebGL standard, you know, medium poly standard, and high poly standard. So I think the biggest part is about also about the visual part. And I wanted to add also, I don't know if the big companies like Epic, I mean like Fortnite or Roblox, they will, you know, they like the interoperability, because one time I was talking with, you know, when I was in my, you know, company before, I was talking with one of the head of the brands of the Roblox, and they were saying that I don't know if from business point of view, interoperability will make sense for them, because they are, you know, selling items, no? And they make money, because it's a free-to-play game, Roblox, Fortnite. And they make money, Fortnite make 5 billion by selling digital items. They make 3 times of the Armani group, and by selling this digital item. But I don't know if interoperability for them they can make sense, no? This is also another challenge, I think, for big players to embrace this.
I have little to add to what you already said, guys. But I think that to summarize, everything comes down to IP. Because that kind of interoperability comes from IP. In Fortnite, we have, you know, superheroes from Marvel that could be used as avatars there. And yeah, I also agree with you, because once we'll have like very big IP stepping to Web3, because interoperability in games is already something real, but it's missing the Web3 component. So I believe that to make it, to go mainstream with Web3 interoperability, it would be cool to have very big names entering the space. Like, how cool would it be to have the Star Wars franchise printing comics with QR codes where you could just like redeem an avatar from that comics into one of the video games? Or, on the other side, it would be nice to see new IPs built directly by Web3 communities, like Cool Cats, for example, which of course require many years, many different media, like video games, books, movies, videos, that could attract the mainstream audience, which would have already integrated into their system the Web3 technology, blockchain technology, and that will help people to adopt the technology in an easier way. So yeah, IP, it's the main hurdle, in my opinion.
And what are the steps that are needed to have more developers and gamers in blockchain-based gaming, according to you?
Okay, let's start with the developers. I think tools in general, right? Libraries, engines, graphic engines built directly on chain, especially for desktop applications, which is very hard to do, I guess, nowadays. I'm not technical, but I believe it's one of the hardest things to build, like a blockchain engine, blockchain-based engine. There are some libraries on Unity that could integrate some Web3 features, but they're broken most of the times, and they have not been reviewed by any user on GitHub for years. But so yeah, tools, knowledge about how to sell this kind of products. So risks, I mean, willingness to take risks, because if any big player, traditional development company decided to launch a Web3 video game or a Web2 game with Web3 options, they would take risks, and those risks cost tens of millions, and Ubisoft already proved to create big holes in their balance sheets due to these decisions. But yeah, maybe they should hire more people who were more into the space so they could provide a better solution, better products for them, as we said before. And there's the point of view of gamers. Gamers are afraid of scammers. They don't know how to use the UX is hell for them, and they, as we already said, they don't want to necessarily play a game to earn. So I believe that we already have the technological solutions to bring nice UX experiences or gasless activities on video games. But when it comes to scams, I don't really have an answer to that. I don't know how we could educate users to avoid scams. And probably it would probably be better if Web3 communities helped gamers to, I mean, they should prove themselves to be trustable. Reliable, I guess, and that's
same problem in the crypto.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem across any industry in this space. So, yeah, we'll see. I don't have an answer.
Yeah, I think on the dev side, I think we're already kind of like at a good spot. There are like some SDKs with Unity. Unity actually has a Web3 program. They have like a Unity asset store, which is pretty functional, I would say. Unreal SDKs are out there. We partner with like an awesome project called Hyperplay. For example, like they provide all of these. They also have like a marketplace and kind of like an overlay of like Epic, so you can have like Web3 games and like Epic games like right in the same place. Definitely, there's more maybe some more tools. On the pure crypto side of things, yes, the wallet experience is getting better and better, of course, but on the mobile side, I don't think that much. I think another big component that hopefully we will unlock in the near future is on the store, like on the Play Store and Apple Store, like the fact that if you're building something in crypto, probably you're not gonna get listed. That's of course like a huge market, so especially for like the mobile gaming industry is huge, right? But if we cannot like put games on the stores, then it's gonna be a little tricky. But I see it changing. Like Epic recently launched their mobile store, and they're having like, or at least like we're talking about game like a Web3 game that is gonna be on there. So yeah, distribution is gonna be key for sure. On the developer side, definitely pure game developers, they need to see there is a welcoming community that is pure. Oftentimes it's not the case in this industry. A lot of people are just like mercenaries, rent seekers. The average indie game developer does it because they love it. So if we're a pretty welcoming industry, but people can get burned pretty easily, so that's one side. If you're a dev, join hackathons, get together. Like this industry is like all over the place. If you find your group of people, you can just like go around. If you contribute and know how to do it, you will 100% get rewarded. It's very meritocratic as an industry at the end of the day. We just launched an hackathon with Taiko, for example. It's our first hackathon. There's 100K in bounties. Just a little call to action there. So that's, watch out for these opportunities. Maybe look into ecosystem you want to get involved, and just like, for yourself out there. I think that's probably the best thing. Reach out to people. People are very, welcoming. They will answer you most of the times, I guess. So yeah, that's kind of like some ideas.
I mean, that's something really, I don't know. I mean, I completely agree with this, all the distribution, mobile and everything. But I think Web3 gaming for the next 2 or 3 years is connected to the, is a Web3 crypto. So I believe if we have the crypto goes bigger, we will have, more money liquidity there, more developers coming there. Because, that is something as the obvious answer. But, if you have more liquidity on the across all the blockchains, all the application, DeFi, gaming, NFTs will grow. I think this is my opinion.
So we have 10 minutes left. Are there any questions from the audience?
So first of all, I want to say I came here completely unfamiliar with the topic, so I might be off topic. But as I understand, the gamers want to be on Web3 gaming to make money through selling the NFT of whatever product is in the game. So what is really important, I think, is the IP connected to the game, because nobody is going to want an NFT of something that doesn't have a huge user base. But at the same time, if I'm a big IP, why would I want to invest in something that in a multimedia environment doesn't let me sell the same thing more than once? What is it that would attract big investors into this sort of solution?
Great question. I think one thing, first of all, it's if you're like a Web3 game and like you're selling NFTs at like hundreds of dollars before even like having a product, I think that's a big red flag. Honestly, like great, amazing games, they cost like $80 a top, maybe 100 if you get like the expansion deluxe version. So like that's like probably red flag. Don't get involved. Overall, the right rewards games can have a token like that is tradable. It can be an asset that goes up in value, of course. That can attract like more the speculative side. What you said about like big IPs, absolutely. Like, why they're already running like multi-billion-dollar businesses? Why would they do it? The reason it's a little bit philosophical and it's more on the user side. If you grind it in a game for like thousands of hours and then the devs like makes an upgrade and then you lose like a bunch of assets because like, you know, one of their servers just like, you know, gets deleted or whatever, then that's a big problem. So if you put an asset on chain which is immutable and just stays there forever, ideally you will have that asset in perpetuity. That asset can also generate income eventually. The financial side, even though it might sound scary and scammy, is actually like a big value proposition of this industry, right? There are assets within games that even traditional board games or even like trading card games that are worth millions of dollars. Web3 enables you to put a financial layer on top of that. So these assets can actually, for example, you can use them to borrow against, right? So you can have like loans functionalities. I know maybe this sounds like cyberpunkish or like crazy, but it is actually a use case, right? If you can like bring liquidity to hard assets, I think that's really a great use case overall. I hope it answers the question. I don't know if you guys have anything to add.
So you were very, I mean, is there something else you would like to get answered? Like, is there like...
I think in general, I don't really understand if your user base is mostly made of non-traditional gamers that don't really care about the actual gameplay, but care more about the making money aspect of it, then who is actually really going to be interested in buying the NFTs, as Piergiacomo said? Okay,
People who are part of the same niche. I think it's a different niche. Like it's a completely different niche. So when I said like we're gonna have Web3 gamers and we're gonna have Web2 games, traditional games with Web3 features that not necessarily involve the financial part. Maybe in MMORPGs, it would be probably the best solution for that. We already have markets on World of Warcraft, but we don't have a parity, a change between the gold, the coins in World of Warcraft and fiat currency, for example. This layer would help to create this sort of connection, which would be great. Would the gamers love it?
I thought that was illegal to sell real, like, game gold for real money. Is that not the case anymore?
Illegal?
Yeah.
In that case, you will create a utility token, so would fall below different laws.
Because it's an extra step, it's not.
It's an extra step. Yeah, it's a different technology.
Okay.
Just to answer you, I think what is happening right now is that we have Web3 games that there are two profiles inside Web3 games. people that now they're playing Web3 games, unfortunately to say, they're for making money. There are two profiles. Players that they don't have money, but they have time. They play and earn the game. There are investors that they don't have time, but they invest and they make money. But these, Web3 industry, Web3 gaming wants to change this kind of a scheme right now. Wants to bring Web2 players to the Web3 game that underlying assets is a Web3. So, for example, make an example. Vitalik was playing lots of World of Warcraft when he was really young. One morning he woke up, and all the asset that he had, it was gone. So he said that why that a developer or a publisher decide to delete my account? Because it is not decentralized. So it is more on philosophical part. Web3 gives you these kind of possibilities. But right now is a little bit more speculations. But what Web3 is aimed to bring Web2 gamers that they like having fun to the Web3, but with on top of that some kind of freedom that Web3 giving you. The asset is yours, you can trade it, and you can all this. But I don't know when we will achieve it, but as the first question that Amelie asked, I think probably in the 5 to 10 years, hopefully we can achieve this kind of aspect.
Hi, I'm Bruno, and for the past 5 years I've been working in Web3 gaming. I've founded a company called RMRK back in the day where we focused on creating standards specifically for extending 721s into a game-compatible world. And we made the exact same things that you were talking about. So we made a standard that is backwards compatible with 721, but allows you to have different assets in the same NFT. So you can actually have one NFT for both Sandbox and Decentraland, but different renders. And this works perfectly. We've also made it so that NFTs can equip each other, fully compatible with gaming, lots of innovations there. The problem we've encountered, however, when we built this entire stack, and these standards are all merged final ERCs, you can use them today, is that whenever we approached, especially Web3 companies that are building games, what we got was NIH syndrome, and this is not invented here. This means that when we approach them, hey guys, we know you're building this and that. Here's a stack that makes it possible today. The answer we got almost every single time, the standards are used by some gaming studios today, by some games, by some projects, it's okay. Most of the time, we got the answer, why would we use this? We were invested in by our VCs to invent this. And so they want to invest their own thing, invent their own thing, so that they don't just tell their VCs, oh yeah, these guys made what we needed, so we just took it. So my question is, how do you prevent the PvP nature of Web3 gaming studios, where they absolutely refuse to collaborate for the sake of their VCs and appeasing their token holders or future token holders?
I just have a suggestion. I completely agree. I think you did a great job. I think a little bit of Web3 is most of them with PvP, even between protocols. No, liquidity come from one protocol, TVL. I think. I don't know, this is maybe my suggestion, maybe you have already tried. Probably, I don't know, have you ever approached to the NFT project when if I'm making an NFT IP, rather than building the smart contract that is maybe ERC 721 or 1155, I build with yours, so it's already compatible with different platforms. So as an IP, as an NFT collection, I become big. When the Decentraland come to me and tell me, okay, I want your IP, you want to integrate, say, okay, I have this standard. And then Decentraland or other game studio that wants my IP, it will be, somehow, it should mandatory to use your, a smart contract, use a standard. Because right now, as an Intraverse, we are working with lots of NFT collections. We want their IPs because we think that they have their community. And we are saying that, okay, who has your 3D assets? Because we are not a 3D, 3D creating a studio. They said, okay, we work with Metatope. We work with the Futureverse. We work with this. And we said, okay, let's see how we can integrate their APIs inside our game. This is, I don't have a, clear answer to your questions. But I think, as my point of view, I usually, if I want one IP, I try to understand where I can get their assets.
Yeah, Yeah, I think honestly it's because like you're a good builder that is building something that is honestly for public goods, and like people are very predatory at times. I think like games within single ecosystems collaborate, projects like kind of like help each other, but it's also like a fight for attention at the end of the day. So it's a tough one. It's probably I think you want to go after quality over quantity, not just say, oh, we work with 50 projects. Like work with like 2 or 3 that are actually like want to work with you, and like then validate the use case and then expand on that. Yeah, I do see the struggle. I think like ecosystem that are early, like on Taiko we're pretty early. We have like around like a dozen games right now, a little more. But they're all very communicative and help each other because they're all bootstrapping, so they do like cross promotion and stuff like that. If you enter an ecosystem where there's like already like, you know, dozens of players like at the top level, they're competing for attention, then yeah, it gets tricky. I mean, it sucks, man. I'm sorry that that's just the case, but yeah, unfortunately, that's kind of like the industry, I guess, for some parts. I don't know if you.
So thank you so much. We are unfortunately running out of
Thank
time,
you for your question.
but of course, we will have time to answer all your questions after the panel. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for coming out.